Hi, this is Chris Young, and this video is about a day that I spent with my good friends Rich Logan and Bill Binko, and we did some drone flying. And we've got the drone connected to uh, uh, ATMakers Freedom Wing, and it allows me to fly the drone using my wheelchair joystick. So here's the view from the drone, sitting in my driveway, and Bill is going to take the drone off using his handheld controller, and then he's going to push a button that switches control over to me, and then I can fly it using my wheelchair joystick. Unfortunately, we forgot to turn on any other recording other than the onboard camera, so we have no audio of anything that we were doing or saying. So next time I do one of these videos, we're going to be sure to have some audio recording. By now, I've got control of the drone. I'm turning it around. There's my nurse, Tony, sitting on the front porch. And there's me, and that's Bill waving. And the guy in the white and blue shirt is my best bud, Rich Logan. Right now, I don't have the VR goggles on. We're just making sure that everything works properly. I'm getting used to the controls again. The last time I had flown this drone was a year ago, March. And because of the pandemic, Bill and I weren't able to get together and go flying again. So this was the first flight I'd had in a long time. And the normal drone controller has two joysticks, but for my wheelchair controls, I only have one joystick. So we've set it up to have three different modes. In mode A, when you move the joystick up and down, left and right, the drone slides forwards, backwards, or slides left to right from a tilt motion. In mode B, when you go up and down, the drone gains altitude or descends and then slides left and right. And finally, in mode C, we control the camera by tilting the camera up and down or yawing left and right. By the way, as I was describing those modes, I wasn't necessarily in the mode that I was describing. I was going in and out of different modes. Here I'm trying to bring the drone in for a landing on this test flight. That was something I wasn't able to do the last time that I flew, but I figured out the secret that when you get down close to the ground, if you give it a continuous down thrust for several seconds, then it will eventually land itself. So here we go in for a touchdown. And as the saying goes, any landing you can walk away from is a good one. Touchdown. On the second flight, we forgot to turn on the video recording for the early part of the flight. So we joined this flight already in progress. Here we are over my house, maybe, I don't know, 100 feet or so, taking a look around. The last time I flew, it was in March, and all the trees were bare. There you can see downtown in the distance. By the way, it looks very hazy today. I'm told that's from the western wildfires. When I was flying in March, the sky was much clearer. Even though it's a bright, sunshiny day, there's a lot of haze in the distance. Now we're looking down on top of my house. You can see my van. And I wanted to take a look. There we are, way down there in the driveway. I wanted to take a look at our neighbor's yard because they're doing some construction over there. They got the whole place torn up. They're putting in a new driveway and a new garage. Forgot about the fact that there was going to be a tree in my way. So I tried to get a little altitude. I think they've taken all the dirt from where they tore up the driveway and dumped it in the backyard because there's not a blade of grass in the whole place. Still trying to get used to these controls. I mentioned the three modes that we have, and Bill originally wrote the software for someone who could only use one push button to change modes. So it toggles between A, B, and C, and then back to A again. And even though he's got a little LED that changes colors as you go from mode to mode, I couldn't always tell what mode I was in because I had the VR goggles on. There we just took a look at the Coca-Cola plant just south of 30th Street. We're turning around towards Eagledale Baptist Church and not Eagledale, Meadowwood Church. Some apartments there on the left. Just doing a little sightseeing. Skipping ahead a little bit. There you can get a glimpse of Northwest Junior High. Those brick buildings in the background. Now we're turning around to the north. That's Pike Plaza Shopping Center in the distance. Another look at downtown. And then that's in the direction of the Speedway and the Coke plant again. Apartment buildings along 30th. Don't really know what to look at. Just playing around. Going to take another look at the neighbor's construction project. I'm a little bit further forward from that tree, so I get a little better view. Now I decided we've been up long enough. Maybe it's time to start thinking about coming down again. Of course, I'm right over a tree across the street from me, so I'm going to have to come forward a little bit. And I want to keep the camera focused on me and my friends as I'm coming down. Here we see me starting to slowly descend. Gonna have to move forward to avoid that tree. Again, it's difficult to remember which order the modes are in. I'm going to rewrite the software because I actually have access to 3 different push buttons. So I can assign a mode to each button, and I'll remember which button does which mode. It'll be a lot easier to switch in and out of different modes. I won't have to look at a LED to know what mode I'm in. I also have plans on adjusting the software so that a long press rather than a quick click will do something different, like turn the video camera off and on, or put it into takeoff mode or landing mode. Here we're coming in pretty well. I'm over the street now. I'm going to clear the trees. You can see Bill and Rich. They're kind of looking up into the sun. They got their hand over their forehead there to shade the glare. Whereas I'm looking through the VR goggles, seeing what you're seeing. So the sun's not hitting my eyes. Here we go. Running right on down. A little bit in the grass, but no, we hit the sidewalk. A little bit of a bounce landing, but we made it. There's a way to download data from each flight. It's stored on your iPhone, which is used as a controller, and then you load it into a website called airdata.com, and it shows you the ground track of where you flew. Some other information there. You can see battery icons, stuff like that. The website also has the ability to animate your flight data, and you can see various messages popping up as we go along. In an earlier attempt, the flight that we had back in March, I tried synchronizing this website playback of the flight data with the actual video, and the frame rates aren't exactly the same, so it's a little bit difficult to synchronize things. Here you can see I moved off to the north That's the part of the video where I was looking at the neighbor's construction site, kind of hovering there, looking around. You can see the arrow moving around as the drone moves to different positions. Of course, this background image that is projecting the data onto is Google Maps satellite view. And so the cars that are shown in the driveway there are what were there the day that the Google map was recorded, not the day of the actual flight. So it's not completely accurate. Also, it looks to me like the entire plot is about 10 or 15 feet south and west of where it actually should be. In fact, I ended up landing at approximately the location where it shows me taking off from there. Again, that's an image from Google Maps that was taken God knows when. I've skipped ahead in this map replay to show my landing sequence. And I think the data is a little bit off as well. Notice that the arrow is pointing a little bit to the southeast, but during this entire landing, I was keeping the drone pointed almost directly at where I was sitting, which would be the hood of that burgundy car, or maybe the tail end of that steel blue car in the driveway, which weren't really there. But here it shows me coming in for a landing. And you'll see a pop-up here in a moment. It says that the flight concluded. And there we go. In this next segment, Bill is going to teach Rich how to fly the drone. The idea is that Bill lives in Florida and Rich lives here in Indy. And so Bill is going to leave me the drone on kind of a permanent loan because he's got a brand new one. We'll show you that one later. But if Rich knows how to fly, then Rich and I can go flying together, and I don't need to wait for opportunities for Bill to come up from Florida. So right now he's just showing you how the controls work. As you can see, Rich doesn't have on the VR goggles. There's a nice view of the shadow. They're just looking at the iPhone controller and showing him how everything works. Now Bill's going to bring the drone in for a landing and turn the controls over to Rich. So here's a nice touchdown. Don't know why it jiggles so much at the very end. And touchdown. Now it's going to take off again and hand the controls over to Rich. Somebody warned the FAA, student pilot in the air. Things are going to get dangerous. So Rich tries flying forwards and backwards, and then sliding left and right. And he suddenly discovers that when the drone is facing you, left and right are backwards from what you expect. Now that's not a problem that you have when you're flying with the VR goggles, because it feels like you're sitting in the drone flying with it. So left is left and right is right. Now he's turned around so the drone's facing away from him, and he sees that left and right go the way that he expects it to. We've skipped ahead a little bit here. Rich is at the controls, kind of feeling things out. Watch out for the tree, Rich. Don't want to fly into that. I've cut out a large section of video here, maybe 30 or 40 seconds, where the drone was sitting there doing nothing. That was because Rich was putting on the VR goggles. This is a case where I really wish we had recorded some audio so I could see what was going on. Rich was having problems that he was seeing double in the goggles. And so Bill is trying them on. They look okay to him. Now Rich is trying it without his eyeglasses on, and he's still seeing double. It turns out that Bill and I have kind of big heads, and Rich is kind of tall and skinny and has a narrow head, and his eyes are closer together than ours. So there's a little adjustment in the center of the VR goggles that gets your eyes to line up just right. And now Rich can see, okay, he's got them adjusted properly. And Bill's bringing a drone around here and is going to hand things over to Rich again. And now Rich is in control. And flying with the goggles. And we're going up. Gain some altitude, then do some sightseeing. I recall Rich commented he could see that water tower off in the distance, the Speedway water tower. And now he's looking around. The same things I was looking at. Skipping ahead here, Rich gets his first look of downtown and around the Speedway area and the Coca-Cola plant, the white building in the distance. And now it's time to come in for a landing. Brings the camera down, comes down pretty fast. Turns out he's right over the driveway and brings it down for a touchdown. I couldn't figure out why you could see the propellers. That's the shadow of the propellers that you're seeing. Now for the final flight, Bill is going to show off his new Skydio 2 drone. And this thing is absolutely amazing. It's got a 4K camera. It's got sensors all around it that keep it from crashing into things. It's damn near crash proof. And Bill just launched it out of his hand and turns it around. He's flying it with his phone. And Rich and I are just sitting there watching. And it locks on to where you are so that the camera stays locked onto you. Here he's showing me how the controls work. Now watch, as he walks out towards the end of the driveway, the camera automatically follows him and follows him back again. And now he's going to go into another mode. In that mode, the camera was sitting still. Now it follows him at the same distance and same angle when he walks out and walks back. Just amazing. Now he walks over towards the neighbor's house and tries to crash the drone into the house, but it automatically avoids the neighbor's house. And finally, when he gets out in the clear, it reorients itself and gets back in position. Now watch this. He clicks on the drone and then points to somewhere else in the sky, and it goes wherever you point the damn thing. Now, unfortunately, it locked on to me and Rich instead of Bill. But you just, whichever way you point this little remote in the sky, it just goes there. So here he's gonna point at the drone. Oh, now he's showing you can make it fly further from you on the same, stays locked onto you, but flies far away. And then you can just tell it, come on back, and it'll come back on that same angle, same camera, locked onto your location. Just amazing stuff. Of course, you saw the price tag on the little screen grab that I showed you, so for that amount of money, it ought to do some wonderful things, and it really does. Well, it's going to have its orbit around a little bit. We're going to skip ahead again. Now Bill is going to record the drone, and the path it would have taken would have crashed it right into our roof. But it avoids the roof. So Bill steps aside, and now I can recall the drone, and it will come in and not hit the roof. It's following him around and trying to get back to the location it wanted to be on. It may have locked onto my van. Oh, now here he's doing that point and click thing where he points and then points to another place. You can also record different locations and tell it to fly from one spot to another, and it remembers where it was. Now I think he's going to bring it in here pretty soon. This is one area where I really wish we'd remembered to record the audio, because he's explaining all the features of the drone. Now I don't know what he's saying. I ended up cutting out about a full minute of video here because you really couldn't tell what was going on. It was Bill narrating different features, and you really couldn't tell just by looking at the footage what it was he was trying to demonstrate. It's just amazing. All of this is shot in 4K video, and I've scaled it down to a regular 1080 video. So this would be super sharp. You could zoom in on it digitally in post-processing if you wanted to. Just an amazing piece of equipment. So a big thanks to Bill Binko for teaching me how to fly a drone and developing the Freedom Wing and the initial software to make all that possible. And thanks for teaching my friend Rich how to do all the flying. I think we've got some fun days ahead of us. Rich recently retired, and so we got plenty of time to hang out with one another. Bill's bringing the drone back in for a nice landing. He's going to just have it land in his hand, pluck it right out of the air. So that's all we have. Thanks again to Bill and Rich, and I'll post some more videos once I get my software updated to make the mode change easier, and we'll have some more flying fun. That's all for now.